Disney's new fireworks spectacular, Happily Ever After, debuted last night at the Magic Kingdom. It's the first new fireworks show in like 13 years. That's how long Wishes ran. It was, live streamed around the world. That's how I watched it because I don't live in Orlando. And I've been getting texts from people saying, oh my goodness, you have to see this new show. It's amazing. Happily Ever After is amazing. And when you watch Wishes, which I did, and then roll right into Happily Ever After, Wishes seems very, very boring and just bleh by comparison, really. In terms of spectacle and grandeur, Happily Ever After just ratchets it up to 10. It's unbelievable, everything that they have going on with this show. That being said, I'm not here to just praise the show. That'd be boring. I want to share my thoughts and some of my concerns moving forward. And really what I want to do is start a bit of a conversation here. I want to hear your thoughts, so leave a comment down below. Let me know if you agree with what I'm about to say. Let me know what you thought of the show. And let's, as Disneyphiles, people who care about what Disney does for some reason, let's talk about this new show because it's really, really cool and I think there's a lot going on. And I'd love to hear what, especially cast members, what you guys think of it after watching Wishes for 13 years, how you feel about this new show. So, I'm going to go over today 3 things that I think are lacking in Happily Ever After, contrasted with Wishes. And this doesn't mean that the show is doomed. These aren't fatal flaws. They're just things that I notice on first glance. Again, having watched the show only twice now. I watched the live stream and I watched the replay of the live stream. These are just my comments on things that I'm concerned about moving forward. Number 1, Happily Ever After seemed to lack any sort of coherent narrative. So Wishes had this great story to it in the way that, you start at the beginning with the Blue Fairy and Jiminy Cricket, and they introduce this idea of wishes, and then, this is key, Jiminy Cricket checks in throughout the show, and he kind of touches base to establish what's happened and where we're going from here. A great example of this is the villain section of Wishes, where Jiminy Cricket introduces at the beginning, wishes are a powerful thing, but be careful what you wish for. And then the villain section starts, and at the end of it, he says, just when things look bad, fate comes in to see you through. And it kind of ties everything together really nicely, gives it a narrative through line that as a viewer I can follow, and I know exactly what's going on, and that theme of wishes is reinforced over and over by the narrative. Happily Ever After doesn't have that, from what I can see. Again, you have the narrator at the beginning, and he introduces the idea of finding your happily ever after, and he checks in again at the very end to say, find your happily ever after, but in the middle, you don't hear from him. And so it ends up just feeling like a montage of Disney movies, thrown together in sort of a random order, from what I can see. And again, both shows are essentially montages, let's be clear. They're both essentially just as many Disney movies as we can fit, crammed together, let's get songs, let's get fireworks, let's do it. But I didn't know what was going on. I didn't know what was being shown to me on the castle and done with the fireworks, I didn't know how it related back to this idea of finding your happily ever after. Are all the characters, are they finding their happily ever after and we're to be inspired by them? I didn't really get that. Then there's a section kind of in the middle where you have all these the friendship section, and it's all these best friends, and none of them are talking, which is kind of weird. They're just kind of there dancing around. Really cool. It looks amazing, but it doesn't feel like it has any sort of narrative coherence to really ground it. And that leads us to the second issue with it, and it's very directly related to the first one, is because there's no narrative that I can grasp. The second issue I see is that it just lacked heart. It just seemed to lack that emotional connection that Wishes had. Now, obviously, 13 years of running, you're going to get that connection. You're going to establish that relationship with the show. But there was something about Wishes, and again, connected to that idea, that narrative, and maybe it's the story of the girl, the terminally ill girl who sang the song for Wishes, that just gives it an emotional oomph that really relates. And that's why people bawl their eyes out during Wishes. Whereas with Happily Ever After, you're just awed by the spectacle of it all, but there was no heart to it that I could see. And again, maybe over time we'll start to see that, but on first take, I didn't get that. And the third thing that I think is lacking with Happily Ever After is, well, it's a problem in show business in general. If you watch, the Grammy Awards or something like that, you'll see a lot of stage shows suffer from this as well. There's too much going on. As the viewer, I am not being told by the show what I should be focusing on. And so you're left just kind of lost a little bit. You're looking at everything that's going on, and there's fireworks going off beside the castle, and there's obviously the amazing projections on the castle, and there's fireworks going on behind the castle. But what am I supposed to be looking at any given moment? Because you can't take it all in at once. We are very focused people. We can only focus really on one or two things at a time. So, okay, I'm watching the castle, and I'm watching all the projections, and then, oh, wow, the fireworks going up beside, that's cool. And by the end of the show, you realize you didn't see the fireworks behind the castle at all. And so because it lacks focus as a show, because there's so much going on, you end up just kind of watching it without any sort of direction. And like I said, it's a problem that show business in general suffers from, where you have a performer on the stage and he's doing his dance moves, but there's 20 other dancers doing the exact same dance moves in the exact same costume, and next thing you don't know where the performer is. He's the star of the show and you don't know where he is. And that kind of is what happens here, is either the fireworks end up as an afterthought, or you're watching the fireworks and you miss something on the screens, on the castle. I'm just concerned that there's so much going on that there's nothing going on at all, if that makes any sense. But will it have that real impact that Wishes had? I hope so. I hope over time it does, and maybe it'll just grow on me. But at this point, I'm concerned because of the lack of the narrative, because of the lack of heart, and because the lack of focus. I don't know. It's amazing. Happily Ever After is amazing. If you've somehow not seen it yet, either go watch it live or watch one of the live streams on YouTube, because it's incredible. The technology, it's a marvel. But it's not perfect. And I'm very interested to see what other people think and how you guys see it as compared to Wishes. So leave your comments in the comments down below. And I want to hear your thoughts. I could be completely wrong. I could be shot down. I don't really care. It's just my opinion. And who knows? In 5 years, the show could be my favorite thing of all time. And who cares about Wishes? And who knows? That could be how it goes. It's likely that's how it will be. But after 2 views, these are my thoughts. So I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, leave your comments down below. I want to see what you think. And we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.